So do you have those fine lines and wrinkles you just can't seem to shift? Perhaps you're hunching over a computer, your telephone, and you're shortening the neck, which is creating those fine lines and wrinkles. Well, in today's video, we are going to be doing 2 amazing fascia releases to really help reduce those fine lines and wrinkles on the neck and to really soften those lines. We're also doing some lymphatic drainage, so we're releasing toxins and waste once we've done our fascia work. Hi, I'm Alison Jane, and a warm welcome to the Fascia Lift Method. So first things first, you want to start off with clean skin, and I like to do this in a seated position. If you can look in a mirror as well, that will really help. Now you want to make sure your back is nice and straight and your head is nice and straight. It's almost like your ear is in line with your shoulder. This way we're getting maximum blood flow and circulation to the neck and also the head area. If you're hunching over again and shortening the neck, you're not getting so much flow. So then we're going to take a little bit of facial oil, so we've got a bit of grip and glide and a bit of a slip, so you're not compromising the skin by dragging and pulling. So I've got my Alison Jane facial signature oil here. If you have a neck cream as well, or even a facial cream, that's fine too. So just applying it to the fingers and then all along the neck area. Under the jawline and in front and behind the ears as well, down to the collarbone. So first of all, taking the pads of the fingers, you want to place them where the collarbone is just above. We've got some indentations. Let's just give those a few gentle presses. Now what this does, this really does literally open up the gates to the lymphatics. And then we're going to start first of all on this cervical fascia release. Now here we have our CSM muscle here, and you want to really, if this gets tight, it can actually restrict blood flow, and also again you can be pulling everything forward, and we want to release that. So we want to release the fascia glue, which can get stuck, can get a bit sticky and hardened, so you want to soften and release. So taking our fingers here, we're going to start from the ear, one side at a time, taking one finger, thumb behind, and just gently press this very large rope-like muscle. Then you can use the other finger as well on the other side. Now, if you have long nails, you can always use your knuckles, so you're not digging into this muscle here. And gently breathe in, and as you breathe out, melt into the skin and that muscle. Really melting in. And then we're just going to very slowly work backwards and forwards with our fingers. This is a really small micro fascia movement. Again, we're unsticking any tight fascia glue. And then you can work in the opposite direction now. The fascia is a connective tissue throughout the whole of the body. And what we're doing here is we're working by doing some sort of deep compression on the fascia here. So we're really unsticking that glue, and also we're working in lots of different directions because it's almost like a spider's web effect, if you like. It's in lots of different directions, so you don't want to be just in one direction here. And they're just working around circular motion. And then in the opposite direction. And then taking the fingers just very gently, gliding that down all the way down from the ear, down that big SCM muscle, down to the collarbone. And then let's work on the other side of the neck. So again, taking our fingers, I'm going to make a bit more of a hook shape because I do have fairly long nails. And then just gripping with both hands, so from the ear down to the collarbone. Breathe in and breathe out, and very gently apply a bit more pressure, about 40%. Quite amazing. I live in the middle of nowhere, and then suddenly I've got traffic from farm workers going backwards and forwards and tractors, so excuse the noise. I thought it was just going to be bird song today. Really applying pressure. Releasing also the jaw, the masseter muscle, making sure that the tongue is nice and relaxed as well when we're doing this. And that we're nice and in alignment again. It's very easy again to hoik yourself forward. And then once we've melted into the skin, let's go backwards and forwards with the fingers, micro-fascia movement. And I always like to do some really lovely belly breathing, in through the nose for 4 and out for 6. Again, really helping with somatic movement and also to calm down the nervous system and also helping blood flow as well to the neck and the head area. Let's work in the opposite direction. And then round circular motions one way. Now you can do these 2 or 3 times a week, and you just want to be really gentle on yourself. You don't want to be overdoing. You sort of feel that in the body. So we want to be really kind to ourselves and doing things in a nice, gentle way. Let's work in the opposite direction here. Feel my thumbnail going in, so slightly release the pressure. And then taking the fingers, let's just draw down from the ear, down that big SCM muscle. Fairly light to medium touch. And then just taking our fingers, let's just glide down front of the ear where we have plenty of lymph nodes and behind the ear. And then with one hand at a time down that big SCM muscle again, down to the collarbone. So now let's work on the platysma here, the neck here, and this is almost like a sheath of connective tissue, as a sort of fascia, if you like. So again, we want to soften this. Now, this is very fine on the and delicate on the skin here. It's one of the finest, as well as under the eyes. So we don't want to be too heavy-handed. So taking our hand, placing it just under our collarbone, taking our other hand, making it nice and flat, and then just very, very slowly and gently working in an upwards motion, heading towards the chin area. The slower, the better. And when you get to the chin, just give it a little wiggle at the end and then work a little bit further along. Slow and mindful. Now we're keeping the hand down on the collarbone as an anchor, so you're not sagging the skin and dragging or pulling. And then working on the other side, hand as an anchor, and you just pull down slightly, breathing outwards, coming up with the fingers, and then just very, very slowly working in an upwards motion. Give a little wiggle at the end. Let's work in a slightly different direction again, because the fascia is in lots of, as I say, connective tissue in lots of different directions. So again, placing hand as an anchor here now, taking the other hand, and then just work heading towards the ear, nice and slow. And whatever you apply to your skin is also going to penetrate in better and deeper whilst we're doing these as well. And then hand as an anchor, placing down just a little, gently breathing out, and very, very slowly working in the opposite direction here, heading towards the ear. And give that a little wiggle. Then placing our thumb now under our chin, fingers as a hook, let's just gently glide all along the jawline here. What we're doing here is we're also doing a little bit of lymphatic drainage now, and we have plenty of lymph nodes under the jawline. We're heading towards the ears, and because we've unstuck some nice fascia glue off the big SCM muscle here, everything else is going to be detoxifying easier. And then again, front of the ears, nice and light and delicate. And then behind the ears. And then again, one hand at a time, gliding down that big SCM muscle, down to the collarbone and on the other side. And then from the chin all the way down, where our collarbone is, literally our beginning point, just above, we've got those indentations. So if you take the pads of the fingers and give those a few gentle presses. Now, I would highly recommend drinking a glass of lukewarm water to really hydrate the fascia and also help with detoxification afterwards. And gently release. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please consider subscribing, liking and sharing, and please look in my description box below as well. I have a couple of ebooks you may be interested in and which are really useful on the fascia, and also my 7-day fascia release challenge, if you like. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Okay, bye.